When I was left for dead at 15 years old, I got scarred up real bad. So I got nothing but scars on my head and scars on my ears. Being molested at 7 years old made me afraid of people. And we got signed with Mary J. Blige. Yeah,
wow,
man.
That's crazy.
Got a record label with Mary J. Blige. And we was one of the hottest groups in Chicago at the time. And as I'm walking him out the swinging doors, he goes under me. And he starts shooting.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Ryan Snod. It rhymes loud, and you're watching the Rhymes with Odd podcast. Today, we're jumping in the booth with another amazing guest. We have Will Keeps in the house. Will.
What's up, man?
What's going on, dude?
What's going on?
We've been trying to get you in. I'm so happy our schedules align because you're one of the most interesting men in Des Moines, I would argue. So you and the Dos Equis guy from those commercials.
Wow.
So appreciate you coming in, man.
I'd love to be here, man. I'm glad you invited me to come. That's what's up.
For sure, yeah. Will's got a great, I think, story to share, mission with your business, with what you're doing with the work with the youth of Des Moines. So excited to jump in and talk about kind of your journey. Before we do, I would say probably a good place to start would be if you're meeting someone for the first time, maybe at a business mixer, maybe a little bit to embellish a little bit about yourself. What do you usually tell people? How do you introduce yourself? Who are you and what do you do?
Well, my real name is William James Holmes. And so I call myself Will Keeps because I'm an R&B artist, hip hop artist as well. And so Will Keeps is basically, you will keep my music everywhere you go. You will keep my message everywhere you go. So I like the name Will Keep, like keeping me, you know what I'm saying, in your life and in your ear, you know, and inspiring you and just, you know, just loving, you know what I'm saying, the things I can bring. And I think the reason why I do that is because as a kid, you know, I didn't have that voice because, you know, being molested at 7 years old by my stepfather, being left for dead at 15 years old, you know, because I decided to join a gang because I felt I wasn't being protected in my home. So I decided to be protected by people that I knew wasn't going to protect me, but I felt good that I had a whole bunch of people around me that might protect me. But I realized, you know, by being in a gang, it was a dangerous situation as well, that I can lose my life as well. But being molested at 7 years old made me afraid of people. And joining the gang made me feel like I wanted you to be afraid of me. So it empowered me in a way. And so doing that, it led me to be in situations where I almost lost my life like 4 or 5 times. And you'll think it'll make me run from that type of life. But I got so used to it, it just became who I am, that I couldn't leave that. But then one day, you know, as I'm getting older, like I went to college and everything too, you know, because I was a smart kid. I remember this lady told me that I wasn't going to graduate my senior year. And I was like, I'm not staying here for no extra year. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, you know, I started applying myself, you know, to try to get good grades. And when I started applying myself, my senior year in high school, I got all A's just by applying myself. And I wound up going to Western University in Macomb, Illinois. And you know, I went out there and became an idiot and started I had a life of my own, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't have nobody to tell me what to do. And I went out there and started partying and started acting crazy. So I messed up that. Came back home, formed a group with 2 other guys called Laid Back. And we got signed with Mary J. Blige. Yeah, wow. Man.
That's crazy.
Got a record label with Mary J. Blige. And we was one of the hottest groups in Chicago at the time.
And was it a like R&B group, or were you just all singing or
it was
mixing?
R&B. It was R&B hip hop. Okay. We had one of the members who can rap real good, but he can sing real good too. His name is JD.
Okay.
So it's JD and Axe, you know, and JD can sing and rap. So we was more of an R&B hip hop. We was going to change the music game, you know, but it didn't work out. We went out to New York to visit with Mary, and our business manager almost got into a fight with one of their people. And and let me tell you something. And we're talking on this podcast, so I'm gonna be honest. I was about to go to jail because I was about to lose. I lost my mind. I wanted to take him out. Mm-hmm. I still had that mindset of being a gangster. You know what I'm saying? I used to sell drugs as well. I had that mindset, and so we worked hard to get out of that life, to be in the life that we want, to use the talent that God has gave us. And then you come out in New York and you want to get in a fight with somebody because you don't like the way he said something to you. So I'm like, so it made Mary mad. And I remember Mary came up to me on the elevator and she said to me, you guys he's not a good fit. And I said to her that's our business manager. We're loyal. And we were loyal. We didn't want to show nobody that, that as soon as somebody mess up, we're going to be like, that's it. We're dropping them. No, we're loyal. We're going to talk to them. We're going to see what's up. But she wasn't feeling that at all. And that was it. That was it. I think she was waiting for us to say something different, but I couldn't at that time. But then when I found out, that it was it, man, I was about to go crazy on him. Like, we worked hard, and you're gonna take this away? So yeah. So these are some of the things that I was so upset with God about for a long time, because I'm like, what are you showing me? I'm trying to use my talent. But I don't think he wanted me to use my talent for sex songs and stuff like that, so he didn't make it happen for me when it came down to that. So yeah, that's part of my life.
Sure. No, I love it. And there's so much we can expand on too, but it sounds like just this journey that's gotten you kind of where you are today. Current day, what's kind of your, what do you do in current day? And then we'll kind of jump back into your backstory, because there's a ton of stuff I want to kind of peel back. But what do you do today currently?
Well, right now, I am the founder and president of Starts Right Here. And Starts Right Here is an organization that it helps get kids, out of trouble situations, or like we help with dropout prevention, credit recovery. We actually partner with Des Moines Public Schools so we can actually have teachers inside our building so kids can get credit. We help with graduation. We help with mental health. We help with getting kids jobs, housing. Just get them prepared and ready for the future. The beautiful thing about what we're doing is that we're getting kids that a lot of people can't reach. The kids it's not like they're just on top of the dirt, they're in the dirt. Nobody sees them. And we're getting them out. Because it's like sometimes these kids walk into our building, it's like they're zombies. You know what I mean? It's like they're like you watching what is it? The Walking
Dead.
Walking Dead.
Yeah. They
don't feel, but then when they come into our building and they see, because our building is real nice, and especially inside, it's real nice. They come to the building, they look around, they be like, whoa, this is nice. And then they start to get to know us. They start understanding why we're doing what we're doing. And we're holding them accountable. It's like a different culture where when you walk into our building, you're walking to your auntie and uncle house, but you got to get your education. Mm-hmm. And so they feeling comfortable. It's a different scenery. So Starts Right Here is basically, to be honest, I didn't know it was going to be like this. I was trying to do like an after school program or something like that. Had no idea I was going to get into education and have like an alternative type school. One of my VPs, he used to be my VP. He said to me, "Will, why don't you do your own school?" And I was like, I ain't no LeBron James. You know what I'm saying? How am I going to, get it? I don't know nothing about the education, world. But look where I'm at right now. when he said that, it made me go even further. So, leads up to this. When I built all these relationships with politicians, I had no idea that I was going to be friends with the governor, be friends with the police chief, be friends with Debbie Durham, you know what I'm saying, director of economic development, be friends with Zach Nunn. I'm a straight up Democrat. And these are all Republicans. I had no idea. I was already cool with the chief, Dana Wingert, because our daughters played AAU basketball together before he was chief. I was cool with Lieutenant Governor Adam Gregg at the time before he was lieutenant governor. He was in one of my music videos. I was cool with the governor before she was governor. Like, I was cool with all these people before they became in these high positions. Then all of a sudden they became in these high positions and I'm already friends with them. You know? And it's like, that's how God been working with me. And I'm so mad at God for a long time, but not realizing God was like, I was like this, it's like he was Miyagi.
Right.
And what's his name, Danny?
Yeah.
And he was teaching me wax on, wax off. And I'm like, you're supposed to be teaching me Kung Fu. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be teaching me Kung Fu. But God was like, I am teaching you. You're going through all this stuff in your life, and it's getting you prepared for what I need you to do. Some serious work. I didn't know that. But now I do.
Sure. No, I love it. And it's so interesting too, just, and that's something we'll talk about in a second too, just the connections with people, because we can talk about right now, actually. I'm gonna throw my whole structure off. We'll just kind of flow with this, because I think the narrative that we hear a lot from people that are working in this type of work, it's like you said, no one cares about the kid. The kids don't care about their own futures. Who would care about this? But when you show up for them, I always equate it to like a grandma or like an extended relative that you go to their house and like you might say whatever to your parents, but like take your shoes off when you get to their house. Like you respect your aunt or your uncle or grandma or whoever. So I think like holding someone to that higher standard for themselves kind of sets that example for them. What's been kind of the impact that you've seen just by simply seeing these kids where they're at and when they come in, like acknowledging them and their effort and trying to kind of propel them to the future where they want to go? Just
like you said, when you said going to the grandma house, I'm like auntie, uncle house. Like these kids will put their shoes on my furniture. I'd be like, man, you better get your feet off my couch. And they'll take their feet off the couch. It's like they want that guidance. You know what I'm saying? It's like they want that culture, that chemistry, that feel of being at home, but they got to go to school. And being in a home where they know they are loved. Now, see, a lot of kids, they got beautiful parents. A lot of kids that come to the school, they got beautiful parents. And a lot of kids that come in there, parents not so great. It gets to the point where these kids are, even if you have a good home, you still can a kid can turn out to listen to what's going on in social media and the streets and want to live that life and basically be parented by social media and be parented by the streets and not listening to not understanding they got great parents that love them like crazy. You got the kids with the tough parents who's not there drinking alcohol, teaching them another way to be, because their life was messed up in some type of way and they was taught that. And so they teaching those kids that type of way to move. And those kids, will come in and say, well, because you're doing this, mom or dad, I'm going to be just like you. Then you got some kids who come in with trauma. And I always say it's not about what you've been through, but it's how you get through. So these kids come in with this trauma and they let that trauma defeat them in so many different ways. They said, my grandma passed away, so I don't care about nothing. My brother's in jail, well, I don't care about nothing. And so they started making excuses of why they're being disruptive. And so when they come into Starts Right Here, we let them know, like, okay, I understand you're going through something. We all go through something. Let's fix it though. Let's work on it. Let's try to heal. Let's heal from that. And by healing from that is laughing, talking, building confidence, trust, and knowing that there's a purpose in life for them. So, and that's just, I'm just giving you just a little bit of what we do. There's so much more when it comes down to helping these kids. And to see someone like me with a do-rag on my head, you know what I mean? To be able to say, I'm not going to put myself in that situation of being this black man who can't go to another level, you know, because I'm black and because I'm in a white state. No, I'm not going to think like that. God gave me a mission, and I'm going to go for it. And I'm going to make sure it happens. You know, I always say that, sometimes I do have a situation where I feel like, man, I'm burnt. But God didn't put me here to, to leave me. He didn't put me in this place to leave me. You know what I'm saying? Right now, I have to believe that. I do believe that. And I want these kids to believe that. That's why I put God in their life. I have a program called The Porch. I don't know if you know about that.
I think I've seen pictures on LinkedIn, ironically, of all places, right?
All right. My LinkedIn went crazy.
It's crazy,
So I built an actual house inside the school that looked like the porch I used to sit on when I was in Chicago. So we sit on that porch and we have unbelievable conversation, because on that porch in Chicago, we'll talk about girls, we'll roast each other, but a serious conversation will always happen on that porch because something's always happening in the hood. And so, but we'll sit on that porch and not realizing we're helping each other. We're just talking, but we're really talking about life. So I built that. And what we do with these kids, we really sit on that porch and we talk about life. And some kids don't want to talk in front of other people, but after the porch is over, those kids will come to me privately and want to talk about it. So man, we're changing the. They came in looking like zombies, right? They walking out like they had some type of antidote. You know what I mean? And they're happy. And they're feeling good. And they always come back when they graduate. Let me tell you something. I got kids who would literally fail a test just because they don't want to leave. They don't want to graduate because they don't want to leave the environment.
They don't know what's beyond the fear of not knowing what's out there.
Even though we can get them a job, but they got so used of the culture and how we move and the love they was getting, they don't want to leave. I'm hoping that, especially with the kids who have good parents, that they understand that those are parents that everybody wants. You got it. Please embrace it. Love it. You're not going to agree, but don't take everything that you think was negative with those parents, and that's the only thing you think about. I hate that. They keep thinking about things that happened when I was 5 years old. I was 7 years old, and you told me to go to bed, and I couldn't use my phone, and blah blah blah. But you forgot about it. 7 years old, I used to take you to baseball games, and take you to the movies and take you to the park, and I bought you a new bike. I was always there. I was never absent. They don't want to talk about that. They just want to remember the negativity that they think was negativity. Mm-hmm. They think was trauma. Me not having my phone was trauma. And I get everybody has their own way of trauma.
Well, and there's real things people are going through, like you said, parents with addiction, absenteeism. There's learning disabilities. There's real challenges there. But then, like you said, there's this perceived people who don't know how good they got it. So I think that seeing that perspective helps so much, right? And as an adult now, I see some of the things, like when I was a kid, you notice some things and you kind of remember things, but then I'm one of those trying to hold a grudge type of people, because I'm like, if say I have an absentee person in my life, but they're making an effort now, like really trying. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, rather than just hang on to the pain from the past, like they're making a real effort. Like you don't have to forget about the past, but like they want to move forward. So why not honor that effort? And
especially if they're making a real effort, and you would know if it's real or not, because you know the person. So you'll know if it's real or not. So somebody's making a true effort, you know what I'm saying, and consistent with it, that means something was probably going on with them too at that time where you felt you needed them the most. Mm-hmm. But they couldn't give you what you wanted. But now they like, I'm finna try because I'm feeling better about myself now. I don't have these other traumas that's going on within myself. So I want to give this another try. I don't know. There's so many different angles to all this. And we can talk, that can be a whole segment on its own. You know what I mean? But I see a lot of kids who literally will take something that they could be 15 years old, right? And they see all their friends are going out drinking, and because those parents didn't want their 15-year-old son or daughter to do that, that's trauma for them. Man, there's so much stuff out here, man. I remember a kid told me I should pay him to come to school. I said, what you say? Pay you? Okay. This is how y'all think, huh? Okay. So yeah.
Yeah, like they're owed something for trying.
I gotta pay you now to come to school.
Sure. Well, and it's interesting because we do a lot of work with different clients. We have like iJag is one of our clients we shoot with. So they do the American Jobs like readiness program. I don't know if you're familiar with iJag.
I love iJag.
Okay, I'm messing up the acronym. I'm putting on the spot here, but a lot of times we'll interview like kids that are in those programs and things, and a lot of them were, like you said, we're kind of in this zombie stage. But the second they were introduced to something that sparked that passion for them, now they're all in. Like you said, once you start trying, now you're getting A's, and it's not because you're unintelligent. You're not connected to what you're learning.
I didn't try.
Yeah, you're not putting any effort in. So I think that's the big thing is like exposing kids to a variety of paths in life, whether it's military or career wise or whatever they want to do. Because I think once you find that, then it like ignites that spark, and then you're just going with it. Because there's so many people I was talking with a couple candidates that we were looking to hire that were just out of college, and some of them they're in the creative space. So I'm thinking they're really fired up about cameras and editing and photos and stuff. And a lot of them just kind of like, I think their parents or someone got to them that were saying, oh, just pick a safe route, like just go get a desk job, whatever. And I talked to them, a couple months down the road after graduation, and a lot of them just had the passion out of their eyes. They're just like, well, this is like what I have to do. I'm like, there is so many ways you can.
You can do both.
Yeah. And even if you're not getting paid for it, go do something that lights you up inside.
Yeah.
Go take pictures of nature or go do whatever. If you're not getting paid for it, like if you love it, do it, So,
you're right, man. People will take you away from your dream and your passion, and sometimes you can take yourself away. Sometimes things just happen in life where you feel like, I ain't got time to do all that. I want to, but I don't have time. I don't like it. And I know this is what it is in the world, and with people, but I hate it when their passion be destroyed because of something. And I don't know what that something is. Man, people try to take my passion from me so much, and I feel like if I don't like this job I'm doing right now, I feel like if I'm not helping people or being a part of creating change, I'm not alive. And even you can try hard to take that away from me, but I'm not alive if I'm not doing this. I know that my role has to change because when I first started, I had to be the one that drove all the time. I was the face, all of, and now I have to be more. I'm still in the trenches, but I have to do more of the business part of it too. You know what I mean? I can be that person that just do business and let my staff, be in the trenches. But I wouldn't feel right doing that either. I have to be in the trenches as well. So I just can't. People try to take away my passion a lot, especially January 23rd. But anyway.
Yeah, and we'll get to that. Yeah. Absolutely. Touching on this before we kind of go back in your story, because there's so much about your story that I think the listeners will understand more about you. But now that you're in this current role, I'm assuming you're a father figure for a lot of these kids.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel knowing when you walk into a room and there's a group of kids that look to you for support and look to you as a father figure?
It's great, but sometimes it's overwhelming because a lot of these kids look at me as like a superhero. They literally tell me that. And I'm not a superhero, but they feel like I am. And, but then, when I see that some of my own kids feel like I give them more attention than them, then it makes me feel a certain way. But that's a personal conversation. But I'll just say this when it comes down to that. I try to give my kids everything that I know how to give. And that's a whole nother conversation.
No worries at all. And you meant your father as well? Is that what you said?
I'm a father.
How many kids you have?
I have 3.
Oh, very cool.
Yep. And I took care of my nephew too, but they're all grown. Me and my wife, empty nesters now.
Oh, there you go. Well, you got enough kids at the business you can worry with. So before we jump in, I know you'd also mentioned, I had mentioned this before we started, every time I see you, you got your do-rag on, like unapologetically personal branding out the wazoo. Is there a reason behind that, or a reason why you wear a do-rag all the time?
So it's not even a branding. When I was left for dead at 15 years old, I got scarred up real bad. Like you see scars on my face, so I got nothing but scars on my head and scars on my ears, where I have this thing called keloid skin. I never heard that before, but it's real bad with my side of the family, with my family. And I got shots. I get these keloid shots, these kinolog shots. A lot. And so I'm trying to get the keloids to go down. So the do-rag was my insecurity because when I used to not wear it, the looks that I got was more about my scars and not me. I'd rather you look at my do-rag, you know what I'm saying, than look at my scars. That was my own insecurity. But now it became a brand that people know me with the do-rag. My logo even have a do-rag.
Goatee,
right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's a brand. I didn't want it to be a brand. I didn't think about it being a brand, but the guy who created my logo, I was like, wow, I didn't think about doing that. And it just became what it is. So that's it, man. At one day I probably take the do-rag off. But not now.
Sure. Well, it's very powerful, I think. And from a different kind of lens, like my last name is Snod, and most people struggle with it because it's spelled goofy and it sounds different than it looks. And I always
Are you snotty?
Yeah, right. Well, and I always struggled with it because it was like, as a kid, you get teased about it, whatever. And then the older I got, the more I was like, rather than lean out of it, why not lean into it as something that makes you different? So I named my business Snod Media Group. I introduced myself, Ryan Snod. It rhymes with odd. I named this podcast Rhymes with Odd. Like, I lean into it because then people, like, if your name was something easy to forget, people would just forget about you. But now there's a reason to remember. Right. And leaning into the thing that is kind of the elephant in the room, I think, again, there's some superpower about it. Like, you're just leaning into the thing that makes you unique, So I think it's super cool that you do that with the do-rag. So,
that's what's up. Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so let's jump back. There's so much of your story that I think will make a huge impact for people and to kind of get an understanding of who you are as a person. So take me back to kind of, you mentioned you had a rough childhood. Talk to me about like where you grew up, and then we can kind of go through kind of your life journey here. Yeah,
I'm from the South Side of Chicago, and I didn't live in the projects, but I lived in the hood. 2 different things. And my father was not in my life when he was not married to my mom no more when I was like 1 or 2 years old. And we used to visit him though. I remember one time I was like 9 years old, and my sister was 11, my brother was like 13, and my mom got so mad at my brother, and she took us all in the car and dropped us off over our father's house. It's like she didn't want us no more. In my mind, as a 9-year-old, I was thinking to myself, whoa, she's dropping us off. But then I was happy because my father lived in the suburbs, and I wanted to get away from all that mess anyway that happened in that house, being molested and all the arguing and the fighting and stuff like that. But when we went to my father's house, my stepmom opened the door, didn't let us in. and she was going to talk to my father. And my father came out the house, put us back in the car, and dropped us back off. That was a tough day, because I realized that like, damn, nobody wants us. So trauma was very deep with me. And that's just, I'm telling you, that was the smallest of my trauma. One of the smallest. You know that my life became such a norm that I thought everybody went through what I went through. I remember the first time I spoke, did motivational speaking. And I'm telling my story, and I'm thinking everybody has went through what I went through. But then so many people came to me and said, "I can't believe you went through that." And I'm like, "You didn't go through that?" No, not at all. So ain't that crazy? I'm thinking my life is the norm. Yeah.
Yeah, it opens your eyes to kind of what happened, but also the journey that you've gone through gives you so much more perspective, grit, resilience when things do go bad. Mm-hmm. Where I feel like I think that's the silver lining of a really rough childhood and a rough upbringing, is that people that have it really cushy their whole life, the second things go sideways, they have no clue how to do anything because they've never dealt with it before. Where if you have that kind of resiliency inside you, you can overcome anything, you know?
I'm going to make this clear, though, to everybody who's listening. I love my mom. My dad passed away, and I love my dad. I'm mad that my dad passed away because as soon as I started doing Starts Right Here, my dad was literally following what I was doing, calling me all the time, and I never had a true relationship with him. Now that he saw that I was actually making a difference, he was proud of me. And we was building a relationship. And then he died. So I was mad at God about that too. I asked him, I said, why? I just started to get close to my father. He dies? And how he died was crazy. He had surgery on his knee. He had a blood clot.
Oh my gosh.
He died. Yeah.
It's just routine surgery and just blood clot, and that's what took him out?
I don't know if it was a routine. I knew he had to do something with his, I think his knee was bad in some type of way. And the crazy thing is my stepmom at the time said he woke up in the middle of the night and said, if I don't come through out of this, you know what I mean, I love you. Like some reason he felt like he wasn't going to come through. He wasn't going to make it through. And he didn't. You know what I mean? And I'm like, dang, I just got close to my father. He's gone. Mm-hmm. But he's watching, you know what I'm saying, now, and he's it's like I feel like I have some of his knowledge because I want to learn so much more, you know? And I feel like I'm learning a lot, and it's empowering me where people that's already in power can't feel like I don't feel powerless over people that's in power.
Mm-hmm. Was there something you wish you could have told him before he passed away, or did you feel like there was anything unsaid?
Well, at his funeral, one of his friends got up on the mic to speak on his behalf, and he said that he always talked about his young son, Will, and how proud he is of Will. And I started bawling, crying, and the guy stopped talking because he thought he was hurting me. So he couldn't even get out. I didn't even hear everything. So I wish that, I could have told my father, thank you for seeing me finally. Seeing who I really am and knowing that the pain I went through in my life was the person that you didn't like. But now you see me. Thank you. I never got to tell that to him.
Yeah, and I think that's so powerful that he even got to see, imagine if it hadn't that closure that you get now where it was some of those things that were going on, not you. It's just, once you get in your rhythm and you find it, then.
Yeah, before he died, we didn't talk for 2 years over something stupid. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden my sister and my wife was like, I need to go to Vegas. He lived in Vegas at the time, to go talk to him. So I did. Went to Vegas and we didn't even talk about what we was fighting about. We just jumped right into our relationship, and that's when the relationship started going good. And he died.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy. So we mentioned in your story, we can kind of jump forward to you mentioned high school time. So you had said you kind of started getting into the streets, if you will, like some of the experiences there. Talk to me about kind of what pushed you to that, and then kind of what that experience is like for you.
Yeah, what pushed me to it, like I said earlier, is that me being molested, and I wanted people to fear me. So I felt like the gang was my family, because I didn't feel like my real family was a true family for me. And so, it's as simple as that. I wanted a whole new family.
Did they recruit you, or did you seek them out because you just wanted some community, some power?
It was the neighborhood. The neighborhood was nothing but Blackstones, and we ran under the 5-point star. And so all you got to do one day, come outside and be like, all's well, Blackstone, and use a stone. We didn't get jumped in like a lot of people do. Mm-hmm. It's the neighbor. We lived on that block. That block was Blackstone. We used a Blackstone, nothing else.
Sure. So you're going through this time. Were you going to school actively? Was there a fall off point when you started doing some of the Blackstone stuff? Or?
I never fell off school. I fell off my grades, but I always went to school. I did have parents that made sure you got up and went to school. You know what I'm saying? So that was not a thing. I was the type of kid that I don't like to fail. Just like I told you earlier, when that lady said I was gonna fail and be a senior for another year, that drove me. You ain't know who you talking to. I don't like to fail. So I didn't know this, when I was younger. I went to school because my parents told me to go to school. So I didn't know this mentally when I was younger. As I got older, I started realizing I don't like to fail. Started really paying attention to I don't like to fail. So every time somebody told me I was going to fail, I tried. And then all of a sudden, it paid off. Like, all I have to do is try it. I was so lazy that I didn't want to try. And that's what I see with a lot of kids today. They're so smart, but they get so lazy. They don't even want to try. And then when they do try, all of a sudden they're like, oh, I can do this? Then you know what I started doing? I know you want to talk about my past a little bit, but
it's okay. It's okay.
But it comes up to this part of the story, is that when I start posting kids on social media that they're passing tests, they're graduating, they're passing math, you know what I'm saying? They're off probation. I can't find this kid. Somebody better help me find this kid. You know what I mean? Like, it empowered them, because now, even if they did have a home that was congratulating them, or they had a home that wasn't congratulating them, they were seeing so many people that didn't know them congratulating them. It empowered them. Now when they pass the test and they graduate, they be like, can we take our picture? Because they want to see people proud of them. They want to feel that. They want to feel more. And sometimes they need more than just your family saying it. Your mother, your father, your brother, they need more than that. They want to hear from other people. And so those pictures alone helps them to want to try harder for themselves. Then all of a sudden their brains start developing to them in a sense of them saying that, yeah, I can actually do this. And I got a lot of support. Don't get it twisted. It ain't peaches and cream all the time. we're dealing with kids, that their mindset is went left for some reason. And we got to try to get it back to the right side, or at least get it to the middle. And it's tough to create change for them because they're so used of a certain way. But when they're coming to, I always say, I don't like to put a Band-Aid on the situation. I want to do surgery. So that's why, another reason why I build Stars right here, so I can see them every day. So we can actually work on their mental, and work on their strength and work on their superpower in a sense, I always talk about Spider-Man, how Spider-Man got bit by the spider, had no idea that he had these powers, but then all of a sudden he was strong and he can jump high and, and all this type of spidey sense, but he didn't know how to use it. I feel like, these kids, all these kids, everybody has this superpower they don't know how to use yet. You just got to tap into it. So Stars Right Here is helping them tap into that superpower.
No, I love that. In the high school days when you were kind of coming to the end, what did graduation look like for you? Did you graduate on time? You mentioned there was a counselor or someone said you're going to stay back another year, and then you're like, oh, hell no.
I put a picture up. I don't know if you saw that, of my graduation when I graduated out of high school. And even though I graduated, my mindset was still a zombie. And even though I knew I was going to college, my mindset was still a zombie. I didn't figure it out then, but I'm glad that the higher power was watching me through this whole time, and I kept making mistakes even after that. But that graduation, I'm glad I pushed through, and that was something off my plate. You know what I'm saying? I graduated. And I'm trying to tell these kids too today that, you can try to be this YouTube sensation or this TikTok sensation to make a lot of money, but graduate from high school. So.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. When you mentioned you went to college, you kind of had the case of the zombies going on there. Did that change?
I had the zombie partying, whatever you want to call it, but it was out of control.
Focused on the wrong stuff. I get it. When you get to college though, and you move away from Chicago, did you cut ties with all the gang activity? Did you kind of find a group in? You mentioned it was Macomb where you went for college.
Yeah, I went to Western University in Macomb, Illinois.
Macomb, Illinois. Yep. So
wait, I moved with my father. In the suburbs. After, when I, blah, blah, blah.
No worries.
At 15 years old, when I was left for dead, my father actually took me in at that time. And I moved with my father in the suburbs because I got kicked out of all the high schools in Chicago, and I couldn't go back. So my father actually took me in. I wish he was proactive and took me in early when I was telling him about all this gangbanging stuff. That's a whole nother story. But he took me in, and I went out there and played football, and tried to change my life out there.
What position you play?
I play wide receiver and defensive end.
Okay, cool.
And so I went out there and changed my life just a little bit, but I didn't see a lot of the gang members that I used to hang out with after I moved. I think it was more of and mentally it was more, I talked to him here and there, but I think it was more of a relief for me. Even though I became that person, I took that person out there to the suburbs. My nickname was Tyson when I moved with my father. I had a soft voice and I'd knock you out.
That makes sense for the nickname.
You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
Like, for real, I will knock you out. So they call me Tyson. And so yeah, I just want to make sure that, when I went to college, so it was already 2 years in the making of me not talking to the gang members in Chicago.
Sure. You mentioned this this moment where you were left for dead when you were 15, was that gang related or was that something else as well?
All gang related.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it a drive-by shooting, something that happened or?
No, we was at an all nation picnic, and I don't want to tell too much because I have a book out called Willpower.
Okay, yeah, we'll put a link. We'll put a link below. Check it out. What is that? Amazon? Or?
Amazon and willkeeps.com.
Okay.
So I can't tell too much about the story.
Okay. Because I think some of these stories, I mean, it's obviously we're hitting the highlights or the lowlights, the worst things that have happened to you, but I think those things really do shape us to be who we are. So that's why I wanted to hit on some of those. So you ended up graduating college, or did you drop out ahead of time?
I dropped out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're in Illinois, you dropped out. How did you end up in Iowa?
That's the story I can't tell you, but I was in a bad situation in Chicago and I needed to go somewhere or I was going to die. And I called my brother. My brother was out here. He went to Drake University and he had a family out here. And he was working at UPS, and then he started working at this Garfield restaurant. I don't know if you heard of Garfield restaurant. And I called him up and I said, man, I need to get up out of Chicago. Can you get a place for me? He said, come on. So I packed all my stuff and left. I even left a lot of stuff at my apartment, you know what I'm saying, out there in Chicago. I just picked up what I wanted and left. And as I'm coming to Iowa, I said, where am I? There was nothing.
All the radio stations changed the country and you're like, where the hell am I?
I'm used to the big city. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Seeing so much. I come out here, I see nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to whisper, like, what's that show? I see dead people.
Yeah.
I see nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa. Like I visited out here before, but I never paid attention. Now when I was coming out here, I started looking, I was like, but the one thing that did make me happy though, that the gas was 89 cents. This was in 98, you know what I'm saying? That
Sure.
The gas was 89 cents. And I was like, I even called back home and I was like, you know the gas is 89 cents? Like I was so happy about that. But it was, coming out here was the best thing ever happened to me. You know, it took me away again from all the noise. Like I said, we were signed with Mary J. Blige, and we were still signed at that time when I came out here. And it's just, like I said, that didn't work out, you know. But when I came out here, I worked with my brother for a little bit, and then I got a job at the post office. I did work at the post office in Chicago a little bit, but they reinstated me out here in Iowa. So I had a nice job, you know, when I came out here. And built the family, you know. I can't tell too much of that story either because that's all in the book.
Okay. We'll put a link to the book so people can read it.
Right. But yeah, coming out here in Iowa was the best thing ever happened to me. I had no idea though I was going to be who I am today, you know what I'm saying, to the community.
Sure.
I had no idea. This all came organically.
What was the most jarring or different thing from moving to Iowa versus Chicago?
Just the atmosphere, I guess. The people. Is more white folks out here than.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're 94% white, probably a lot different than in Chicago.
So I was like, so it was a different type of culture, different type of vibe. You know, radio stations different.
A lot of country music, I can imagine.
I said, "Where's the hip hop?" They started finding some stations that play hip hop, trying to make, but it was a lot different. Everything from Iowa and Chicago is different. You know what I'm saying? But there's nice people everywhere. There's bad people everywhere. You know, and so I came out here and I adapted.
Sure.
To Iowa.
No, I love that. You mentioned this like big letdown for the music career. Was that something that you mentioned this loyalty piece was a huge string to you that kind of kept this aligned? Did you know when you were having that conversation with Mary that they were going to like drop you if you didn't drop this manager? Did you know that there was that definite like? No,
at the time on the elevator, when I talked to her and told her that, I thought the loyalty part, you know what I'm saying, she was going to be impressed by that. But she was like, in her mind, no, this guy got to go. I can't. But she never said it out loud like that. It's just all of a sudden the phone calls and the trips to New York, just everything just slowed down and stopped.
Yeah. Because so you had, how many pieces were in your band or your outfit?
3.
There's 3. So that you were all vocalists, or was there like a producer, somebody making beats too?
We had a producer too. So Axe did produce. We produced our own beats.
Okay.
So we had a rapper, singer. I was one of the lead singers.
Okay.
And so you have 3 of us, producer, rapper, and all 3 of us can sing, but Axe was not much of a singer. But
maybe a hype guy. Like, yeah, or something.
He tried. he was a good hype guy. He was a good hype guy, but it was mostly me and JD that was the main singers.
Okay. I know we kind of grazed past this, but how did you guys get signed to Mary J's record label?
We had a concert at this club called The Click, and the radio host was saying that, hey, you guys, we got this group in Chicago who's supposed to sound better than Jodeci. I don't know if you know who Jodeci is. Remember Casey and JoJo?
Yes. Yep.
They had a group before Casey and JoJo called Jodeci.
Okay.
And Jodeci is one of my favorite groups in the world. And they got on the radio station and were saying this group sound better than Jodeci. And so Mary J. Blige was in town at the time. So she was like, I want to see this group. So she came in and we had that place packed.
Did you know she was coming before?
They said she might show up. When we started singing and coming on the stage, I turned around and I saw her, and I was in my mind, I was like, oh, shoot. She's actually here. You know what I'm saying?
I know her.
And then all of a sudden, I just started, like a couple of songs, I started looking at her, singing to her. And I don't know, my voice turned into an angel. I sang my heart out. And you can see her just looking at me. Like she was glazed in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? And so it was such a good moment. And so after the concert was over, she had the VIP area and she asked us to come into the VIP area. So we was up there chilling with her the whole time. And then we talked to her manager and the manager took our number. Then all of a sudden one day she called Axe. Mary called Axe. Axe hung up the phone on her, thought it was a joke. She calls back and say, don't hang up on me. This is actually me. And Axe flipped out. And that's how it all started. He told us about it and that's how it went.
That's insane.
Yeah.
As you kind of, or I should say, sunset the music career, was there any attempt to try to keep the band together, sign with a new label or anything like that? Or did you kind of close that book?
We tried, to keep it going. But the group actually kicked me out because I moved to Iowa. And they found a new lead singer. And then I started listening to their songs. And I was like, I ain't going to make it with this dude.
Sure.
Even though he was a good singer, but he wasn't me.
Sure. Yeah, I was in a garage band in high school, and we didn't sign to Mary J. Blige's record label, but we similarly disbanded, and we all went to college. We went different places, so we all kind of flew around.
I was thinking about one day going to a concert and paying for a VIP pass and just looking her dead in her face again and be like, you remember me? As soon as I tell her my name, she ain't gonna remember she ain't gonna remember me because I look different back then. But as soon as I tell her my name and the group and all that stuff, it's gonna click like
you just
crazy.
Gotta start singing, man. She'll know the voice.
Yeah, she'll know the voice.
She looked into your soul that night.
Yeah, she did. Yes, she did.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're in Iowa. We met. Kind of get us back to current day. So you're at the post office.
Mm-hmm.
At what point were you working for the post office? And you're like, I want to start a nonprofit to help kids.
No, I got hurt at the post office.
Okay.
So it's so crazy. I got hurt and the post office, I got hurt so bad. I'm on disability right now. My lower back is so bad for working for the post office. And the post office saw my results of what was going on in my back at an L5, what do you want to call it, and I was a risk to be back on the post office. So they put me through some rehabilitation program. And I chose to do social work. And so doing social work got me in an organization called Man Up Iowa. And I started working for them. And I started working for another counseling group called Next Step Counseling.
Okay.
And I was doing BS work. And so that's how I got into it. But I started working with all these kids and started realizing that I have a connection with these kids. Like these kids was actually coming to the program. I mean, for the program, but a lot of them was coming because I was there. You know what I'm saying? A big black man who'd been through something in the music, and these kids they was kind of inspired by that. And so in my mind, I kept telling Man Up Iowa and Next Step Counseling, man, we can make this bigger. You know what I'm saying? Let's do something different. But they didn't want to move the way I wanted to move. And not in no bad way. They just had their own vision. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, Terry Harris got killed. And Terry Harris was my son and my nephew best friend. And when he got killed, my son and my nephew was supposed to be at the house, but because they didn't do their chores, I told them they couldn't go. And they came to me and they said, Dad, you know, why don't you do a song about what's going on in the community? They told me about what happened, and I did a song called Wake Up Iowa. When I did Wake Up Iowa, I had no idea Wake Up Iowa was going to be the startup of Starts Right Here. It started that song and that video got the attention of so many different people. And we was the first to ever do a music video in the Polk County Jail.
Okay.
And so so many people loved it, but then a lot of people in the streets of Iowa couldn't stand it. Because I said, when you walk outside your house, what do you see? Houses, cars, and trees. When I walked outside my house, I saw nothing but gangsters, crack pipes. When I walked outside my house, the fire was right there. When you walked outside your house, you went to go look for the fire. And so a lot of people in the hood didn't like that I said that, but that was my truth at the time. I'm not saying there's no gangsters out here, because they are. But I wanted people to see that when you walk outside your house, what do you see? Man, take advantage of that. Why bring the fire to your home? Why go look for the fire? So all of a sudden, you know, the music started getting on the news. And I'm like, dang, music video on the news? What's going on here? Then all of a sudden, I did a song called We Fight, talking about the black community and the police. That hit CNN and Fox News.
Holy shit, I didn't know that.
Oh, it went crazy. And I started doing more videos about what's going on in our community. Then I did another song called Dropping, talking about how the black communities is shooting each other and stray bullets can kill an innocent person. And in that video, I had Governor Kim Reynolds, Chief Dana Wingert, the chief of the Des Moines Public Schools, Matt Smith, Zach Nunn, the sheriff, the mayor at the time was Frank County.
Okay.
And I had all these high officials, not fake people, real people in a hip hop music video talking about what's going on in our community. And that is what I wanted our community to see. I didn't want the people in power to just see things on a piece of paper and on the news. I wanted to be a part of it. So that was my beginning of getting them in the inside of what's going on in our community so they can know how to help us by being on the inside. Building these relationships caused a huge problem for the black community. They didn't like that I worked with the police. They didn't like that I was friends with the governor. So they started calling me Uncle Tom.
How'd that make you feel, hearing that from your own community?
It made me feel, it was one of the worst feelings of my life to know that my own people saw me as an Uncle Tom. After everything I've been through in my life, and what I'm trying to do, you now see me as an Uncle Tom. Not everybody. I want to make sure I make that clear, because a lot of black folks will say, don't say all of us, because all of us didn't treat you like that. And so I want to make sure I make that clear. But to know that some of the black community was really looking at me as a traitor and somebody who sold their soul, just like when George Floyd got killed and the pandemic was happening. And Black Lives Matter out here was real strong. They talked about me on social media and the news like I was nothing. And they called me every name in the book, which made so many people that didn't know who I was or know who I was, and they literally was believing the things they was hearing. The one thing that made people see me as somebody that is solid is that even though I went through all that, I still stayed who I am. I stayed with the mission that God, put me on. That nothing was going to derail that. Nothing was going to change that. And one of the reasons why nothing was going to change that is because I didn't feel that in my heart to change. I needed to stay the course. I didn't have to go out there and march. I didn't want to march anyway because it was a pandemic and people was dying. And I got high blood pressure and I'm diabetic. So I was like, I'm not going to go out there and march and catch this, COVID. But then, too, I didn't want to march because I was marching my own. I was marching on my own, trying to build Starts Right Here. I was creating something. And I built relationships with people that actually had the power to not give my community crumbs anymore. I wanted to create something totally different from what anybody ever created. And I knew I was going to have to walk through the fire to get to that level. But as I walked through that fire, I didn't come out burnt. I may smell like smoke, but I can wash that off. You know what I mean? And so I kept fighting. Now look, we're in a position right now to even do housing. To get homeless kids off the streets, 18 to 24 preference. Get some of those kids back in school. And we're doing housing in a school in the same building. Well, we're working with Des Moines Public Schools, where that partnership with Des Moines Public Schools is so strong that we're trying real hard to change how education look for our community and maybe for our whole state. It was the conversation I had with the governor to do the charter schools. Now, I'm sure there was a whole bunch of other people that was involved. Yes, there were, but it was a conversation I had with the governor that said, I want my own charter school. And she wouldn't fought for it. Those building relationships, even though people was mad at me about that. And I was like, you're mad at me about, after the pandemic, do you realize that thousands and thousands of kids wasn't going back to school? We needed another option. We needed another option. We need more options. They didn't want to go back to school. So we needed other options. You keep talking about money. The public schools losing money. The public school's going to lose a lot. Mm-hmm. It ain't about the money. It's about the kids. And if you help the kids, guess what? The money will come. But you got to focus on the kids first. You got to make sure that they are being developed and on the right path and understand how powerful they are. You start doing that, we ain't got to think about money. The money will come because everybody know you need money to make this happen. But the money will come. So many people are so mad at me about so many different things. Everything I was doing was foreign to them. Everything that I believe in was foreign. But look what's happening right now. Because of those changes, we are saving lives like there's no tomorrow. The partnership with Des Moines Public Schools is going great. Now, there's charter schools out here that people don't like, but kids are actually going to the schools. The kids come first.
I think it's that is like super poetic. I walked through the fire, didn't get burned, but I smelled like smoke. I'm like, damn, dude, that's a bar. Put that in a new song, please. That's awesome. I think it's insane for someone like yourself to get so much negative backlash from your community when your entire mission is to like help kids graduate high school and give affordable housing and places for these kids to live and get them off the streets, and people still have a problem with you somehow.
But a lot of them didn't understand the vision. They didn't understand why. A lot of people were so angry that I was getting grants and getting money, but they wasn't getting grants and money. So they was wondering why I was. And so that made them look at me like, yeah, go talk to your friend. You're getting money from your friend, Kim Reynolds. What people don't realize is that Kim Reynolds wasn't giving me no money. I had to earn that. I had to earn that trust. It wasn't like, okay, we friends, give me money. No. I literally earned it. Now, I don't know if you want to talk about this now, but I want to get this out the way. I never thought doing good was going to hurt so bad, though, in so many different ways. Just like with the shooting.
Yeah, let's talk about it. That was my next question. Yeah. So I think this is probably one of the most profound things, and one of the main reasons I wanted to have you on the podcast is because, we'll talk about this journey with the shooting, but the fact you are still here and you're still fighting for this fight after everything you've been through, I think is one of the most powerful things about you, and that's why I think you're one of the most instrumental in Des Moines. So thank you. I appreciate that, man. That's your piece. So let's talk about it. And you know the date. You mentioned it earlier. Talk me through that day. What was that day like in the beginning of the day, and what transpired?
Well, January 23rd, and I can't talk too much about it because I'm being sued by the families.
Okay.
And so I can only say so much. But January 23rd, 2023, I woke up that morning feeling good. I had bought a new outfit, and I put that outfit on and I felt good. We had some real good kids at the school. They was really working hard, and kids that was not ever going to school was actually coming to school. So it was beautiful. And I wore this ring that I only wear when I'm out. And you know what I'm saying, like out of town or something like that. It was this diamond ring, and I'm only wear it when I'm out. And I wore it that day. I don't know why. Someone told me to put it on. So I go in that day. Everything's cool. Everything's smooth. 12:50, because we get out at 1 o'clock at that time. Now we get out at 1:15, but at the time we get out at 1 o'clock. 12:50, we was all winding down, about to start cleaning up. Because we make the kids clean up. They do chores before they leave. And so,
it sounds like grandma's house, right? Or auntie, uncle's house, right?
Yeah, they got to do chores before they leave. They messed up, you got to clean it up. So we was about to get to that point. And Preston walked in with his hand in his coat. Now, in the courts, I found out that he was walking like that for like 30 minutes, maybe longer than that. Didn't notice it at all. So I was so proud of him because he's about to graduate in 2 days. And he came into the back with his hand like this, his coat. And Rashad and Gianni was back there, and some other kids, Marissa and some other kids was in the game room, and Becker was back there too. And when he came in, I looked at him and I was like, in my mind, I said, man, why do it seem like this fool got a gun? And I just walked towards him. As I'm walking towards him, thinking to myself, he's not going to, if he was going to do nothing, he's not going to hurt this place. He's not going to hurt me. I love him. He loved me. You know what I'm saying? So let me go to him. Put my arms around him. And as I'm walking him out the swinging doors, he goes under me. And he starts shooting. The first 3 seconds, I was in shock. The 4th second, I was already shot. And that ring stopped the bullet from going in my heart. Ring I never wear. And took my finger, and actually took 2 of my fingers. In a sense, my ring finger is it works a little, but it's like in a way a lot. But on that end, I'm like going to stop talking about what happened, but I'm just going to tell you about the feeling that I was going through. And I felt helpless. I felt like I'm watching kids die. I wasn't even thinking about my own life. I wanted to get up, but I couldn't. You know how, there's so many days in my life was the worst days of my life. Just a couple of stories of me being molested, one of the worst days of my life. Me being left for dead at 15, worst day of my life. My father, my mom, played this game of drop off, worst day of my life. Then at the age of 49, it's the worst day of my life. So, you ask, how do I get back up and keep going? Well, that day pissed me off. Even though I went through a lot of PTSD, where anybody who had dreads, I thought they was going to shoot me. I was waking up in the middle of the night sweating because I had a gun pointed to my head and it fired. And I was going through so much PTSD, it was unreal. I mean, I could talk to you about this all day, all the things that I went through, but I'm not. But I wanted to come back 2 weeks after the shooting. But people was telling me, no, you need to heal, I was ready to get back up. So they made a deal with me, to come back a month later. But in that month, I was still in pain. But I'd rather be in pain working, helping these kids than being in pain, being at home doing nothing. So I got up. And by doing that, it inspired a bunch of other kids to get up too. Because I thought this might be over. But it literally inspired the whole god doggone state. I told people I could have sued whoever I wanted to sue and got money and got the hell up out of Iowa. But that's not what God wanted me to do. He wanted me to stay, fight, and do the work that he's been preparing me for all these years. Mm-hmm. So I'm here to fight and keep going and keep helping as many people. It's not just helping kids, it's helping families. And it's actually by me being a strong Democrat, working with Republicans, it's showing people we can actually work together. So there's so many different components to this whole thing of showing people that the way we've been moving has been destroying our country, destroying our kids. Let's show a whole nother different way. So when people say I sold my soul to the devil or I'm this Uncle Tom or this house nigga, when people start calling me that, I tell myself, it used to bother me real tough. Now I tell myself, as you're talking about me, are you sitting on your couch watching TV? Or are you trying, it can be some people trying to do this work or want to do this work, but as you're hurting me, is it because you want to get the funding and not me? You want to be the person that said, you are helping. Everybody out here who's trying to help the community is doing something. Yeah.
And I know you want to be sensitive about the details of what happened, but were you the only victim of that shooting that day? Were there other people harmed as well?
Yeah, 2 kids died.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know about that part.
Yeah.
Were you conscious enough to see what had happened, or did your body go into shock and you passed out from that?
No, I saw the whole thing.
Okay. How did your organization respond? Because I could see this going a couple different ways. Parents or people or educators they might think, oh, maybe that's not a safe place to send kids. Did kids want to come back? Were people afraid? What was their response?
Remember I said that the state and the city became more inspired. Of course, there were some people that were scared. I mean, that's normal. Because they're saying you got all these bad kids in this one place. Of course, something like that's going to happen. I mean, that's normal. But it wasn't, we didn't have all bad kids. We had kids who just needed help, needed a whole nother different setting, whole nother different view. You know what I'm saying? And you got kids that got IEP for anger issues, and they'll come into our building and never had any anger issues. We never had not one fight in our building other than that shooting. We never fight before the shooting. We never had a fight after the shooting. But we supposed to so-called have all these bad kids. Now, of course, we got some bad apples that come in and that they don't get the culture and what we're trying to do. But I tell those kids, I'm not dropping you, but you're not ready for this program. So when you get ready, give me a call. Mm-hmm. Because I'm not going to have a chain reaction of bad behavior. So create another chain reaction of bad behavior where everything is done. I'm one of those. I'm not the one to be like, I'm just going to stick with you. I'm going to fight. But if you ain't fighting for yourself, then what am I doing? Mm-hmm. You know? So it's just the beautiful thing how my staff, how they stay strong. Some of them. I don't want to get into that conversation. But we're fighters, man. You can't run from this work. You can't run. It's the reason why we're doing it. As soon as something like this happens, we're supposed to say we're done. You can't run from this. You gotta go. We're fighters. We're fighting a battle. We at war. So as soon as, you know what I'm saying, something happened, we say, we throw up the white flag. So when people didn't throw up the white flag, I was proud of that. But you had some people throw up the white flag because they don't know no better. You know what I'm saying? They just want to use fear as a tool, which I understand. But you got a lot of families that was like, man, I'm not about to be afraid of that. This guy was willing to risk his life to save those boys. That's what I want my kid to be. And they see that I got right back up. So what else do I have to prove when it comes down to my loyalty, my faith, my belief, my purpose, my passion? And what else I have to prove? So when people still want to talk crazy about me, it don't even bother me no more, because are you on your couch?
That's insane that through your entire journey, that, I mean, all the ups, all the downs, all the stuff, literally being shot and still fighting for this cause, and people can still, like you said, sit in their ivory tower on their couch and still have something negative to say about the work you're doing is just mind-blowing. I'm like, how many people have been shot in their line of work and then went right back to work after? Like, a very small percentage of people would ever do that, especially if it's not a law enforcement type career or something. Like, you didn't sign up for that. This is not an inherently dangerous. I mean, there are some risks there, but it's like you're just trying to help these kids, you know?
It's like I said at first, when I went through all that stuff in my life, it was my norm. I don't want to see this type of life, but I'm used to seeing it. I hate that this is my norm mentally. Like, this is my mental life. I probably would have ran because I wouldn't understand it. So I was talking about how God, you know what I'm saying, was Miyagi, preparing me for days like this, and even other days. Hope we never go through that again. But I love those boys, all of them. And I was proud of all of them. And to see that,
did it, with it being 2 days till graduation and feeling like he was 2 days of graduation. Like, everybody graduated at a certain time. If you finish your course, you know what I'm saying, or pass the test, he was doing a high set. Mm-hmm. So if he passed his last test, he was going to graduate. So he was graduating 2 days. But go ahead. With him in that situation, Was there, I mean, obviously there's mixed emotions, but what were your feelings in that moment of seeing, because you foresaw this happening. I think that's the interesting piece about this is like, we weren't just there and it started happening. Like you were walking him out, like you kind of foresaw what was going to happen.
I felt it.
Did that give you some sense of like, I could have done more, or feeling like you did everything you could when you afterwards?
Of course I felt like I could have done more. I felt like I wish I would have never went through the 3-second shock period. I wish I would have never went through that 3-second shock period. You know? So I felt, of course, and then knowing that the families blame me, you know what I'm saying? That hurts. That's like a slap in my face. You know what I'm saying? And it and I'm not gonna say all the family does, some of them do. But to know that, you know, that other people feel like I could have done more, it makes me feel like I could have done more. But then people who saw the video said he shot 33 rounds in 8 seconds, 7 to 8 seconds. What the hell could you have done? I didn't have a gun, bulletproof vest. I had a ring. I had no idea it was going to save my life that day. So,
yeah, I can just imagine all the mixed emotions and feelings there, but the fact you guys are still going strong is just a testament to your belief and your complete commitment to this cause. And just, again, bravo. Just some of the stuff that you guys are doing is just absolutely earth-shattering for this community. So I'm super, super impressed with everything, and just super proud that you're a part of our community. It's awesome.
Well, thank you, man. And knowing that we got a bunch of kids, we had like 89 to 90 graduates. Kids are graduating. Kids are wanting to get into the building, want to get into our program. Building housing now, you know what I'm saying? Getting kids off the streets. I mean, I couldn't imagine this happening. Building a relationship with the most powerful public schools in Iowa, in Des Moines public schools. To be in this position to do great work and not give our community crumbs. And to see that there's people that's in powerful positions to say we're going to help. And people that's not in power positions, you know, people in the community, people just love to see their kids be happy or want help for their kids. To see that there's something out there that's different. It's amazing. It's a lot of pressure, but it's amazing.
I love that. And the impact is, the ripple effects are huge. And I think the other interesting thing, which we've talked about in length too, is just the overcoming all the stigmas, the negative energy, the people just trying to cut your legs off from underneath you as you're climbing up this mountain. I think is just the true story of resilience here, is some of the impact that you've made despite all the people that want to tear you down, which is just ridiculous.
It's lessening now. You know what I'm saying? They're actually, you know, there's people that give me a call, and because there'll be in meetings and they'll have somebody in there that's really trying to tear me down. And there's people in there who say, so what's your real problem with him? Because what we're seeing is results. So the 5% that's loud, who used to be louder than the 95% that's on positive, the 95% is now speaking to the 5% that's loud. Mm-hmm. So it's like there's a fly in the wall in every meeting. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And they're literally defending what we're doing because they don't understand. I'm not out here. I'm not partying.
Okay, sorry.
I'm not out here doing crazy stuff. I'm out here taking care of me and my wife, empty nesters now. I hang out with my wife. You know what I'm saying? I'm I'm just doing the work. And I know that there's certain things that I don't do. So I don't put so many different pieces of this puzzle on my plate. I'm a piece. And a lot of people like to put so many pieces on their plate and then wind up taking away from the piece that they're gifted with. So when other people want me to do this, do that, do this, do that, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this. No, I have a piece that I'm strong, and now I'm about to get into housing, so I just picked up another piece. So this is it. I got 2 big pieces I'm picking up, and I'm opening doors for those other pieces to be filled, for the puzzle to be filled, so other people can get into this realm as well, and to help. So yeah, when people criticize, don't criticize. Just I open the door. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm Caitlin Clark.
If you can ball like her, I mean that's a joke. I like it.
That was a joke. But
no, this is crazy work though that you guys are doing, and I just think through your whole journey through life, all the downs, all the ups, like everything that you've gone through, there's this path of just keep getting up, keep getting up, keep getting up. What is the biggest lesson that you learned from these hardest moments? And it might be from each individual moment, but is there a theme or a life lesson that you've gotten from each of these of like, man, it took me getting left for dead or nearly dying and getting shot or this, that, and the other. Like, what are some of those lessons for you?
Like I said earlier, one of the things I always say is it's not about what you've been through, but it's how you get through. We all go through something. Do you let that define you or do you get through? So I'm getting through.
No, I love that. I think it's super interesting because you're almost like putting your blinders on for this vision that you might end up in a boardroom with a bunch of suits and in walks Will that does not maybe fit in, or maybe you're in, Iowa with like a ton of white people and here you are by yourself standing on what you want to do. And like, no matter what, like the professional world, the education world, the parents, the whatever, like you're just trudging through this shit, being like tunnel vision, baby. Like I'm going for it.
Exactly. But the beautiful thing is there's a lot of white folks that's in suits. Look at me as being refreshing. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is that they respect the fact that I won't change who I am for you, for anybody. I can't be nobody else. In this job, you have to be authentic as possible. Like even when I go to speak, I might say some words that people in the audience might not like. I remember one time I spoke at a college and I explained the story in detail of me being molested. And I used all the words that I shouldn't use. And there was people out there that was so disgusted with me. They was disgusted. And some walked out. And I stopped. And as they was walking out, I stopped them. I said, as you're walking out, you're disgusted about what I'm saying. But I just wanted to give you a little taste of what I've been through at 7 years old. You're disgusted about me saying it.
They can't even listen to it, let alone live it.
Imagine living it. Then some of them started walking back in. And they started to realize what I just said. You're disgusted by what I'm saying. I just gave you a taste of what I lived. And I did that on purpose. I will never do it like that again. But now I got a story to tell when it comes down to that.
Sure.
So, man, I'm telling you, I'm learning so much. And I'm like opening up people's eyes in so many different ways when it comes down to what's going on in our community, giving them a different perspective. Now, everything that I'm saying is people's not going to agree with everything I say. I get it. Sure. But at least I understand there's so many different angles to everything I say.
I think the authenticity is a huge piece to take away, because so many people, especially in the age of social media, you only see the highlight reel. You only see what people want you to see. When you're your true self, I feel like that is the best thing ever. I've said this before in the podcast, but the best compliments I ever get are when I meet people in real life and they're like, "Oh, I follow you on social media and you're exactly who you are on social media." I'm like, isn't that the only way you should ever be? Right. You should never try to put out a different feel or whatever. And some of those things are interesting. And I feel like the older I get, the more I lean into that of just like, there's unique things about me that people are going to like or not like. But if you try and be super likable, I feel like that's not the path to happiness in life. You just got to be who you are,
Everybody's not going to like you, even though you want everybody to like you. But everybody's not going to like you. And then when people don't like you, be like, why you don't like me? But everybody's not going to like you because everybody's not going to like the way you move. And some of it's just jealousy. They don't even know you. Now, if you did something to somebody, I get it, But people that don't know you, that say they don't like you, it's jealousy. Now, if you're out there doing stuff that people don't like, seeing, they don't like what you've done, but they don't know you.
Mm-hmm. When I've heard one of the best pieces of advice I got was, especially with haters online, like I have a pretty large Facebook group, YouTube following, whatever, and you always get a lot of hate no matter what you do or say. But people always told me successful people never speak down or, spread hate because they don't have time for it. They're too busy chasing their own thing. Mm-hmm. You're too busy building, solutions for education and housing.
And you're right.
You're not on keyboard warrior mode trying to tear people down. You're building your own thing. You're doing your thing.
You're right. Don't have no time for that. But successful people do sometimes vent in private. Sometimes we do vent. They don't see sometimes we vent because they'll be like, why? You know what I'm saying? Like it's I'm telling you, even though we're successful, we vent. You know what I mean? The crazy thing is I don't even look at myself being successful because I'm not nowhere near where I want to be when it comes down to doing this. I'm not nowhere near. No, I'm going to say starts right here. We are not nowhere near where we want to be. I've learned not to keep saying I. You know what I'm saying? I have a whole team that is beautiful. That's in this fight as well. And I will make sure I acknowledge them.
That's awesome. No, I just love everything we've talked about. Kind of tying it all together here, your life journey is crazy. And thank you so much for sharing in detail some of these stories because I know it's hard to relive some of these really
small details.
Right.
It's way more details than what I'm telling you when it comes down to certain things, but go ahead.
Sure. Well, we'll definitely make sure we put a link to the book because I will be buying it and putting it on my shelf out there because I've been traveling a lot this year. I'll have something to read is the stories. But for someone that's listening that they have a dream, a vision, a purpose that they know they want to make an impact in, but they don't necessarily know how to go about it. Like in your case, you had to create something that didn't exist, an auxiliary school or an education place to help kids get through. Like that did not exist before.
No.
If someone has a vision like that, the path is very unclear. What advice do you have for someone to help try and carve that path for themselves?
See, that's such a hard question because the advice is to make sure your passion is strong for it. So even when you feel like you can't get it done, keep your passion for it. You know what I'm saying? You might not be able to get your own, or maybe you will, but make sure you work with somebody who has their own. Keep your passion and then start learning a little bit more about learning what you see, you know what I'm saying? How to build something from the ground up or to create a different program in a program. Everybody's not going to get to where I am. But you can get to a place where you're doing the job you want to do and helping people and bringing people together and changing lives and changing generations. So my advice is to keep doing something. You never know where it leads.
I love that. As we're kind of tying it together too, you've given the audience, myself, a ton of great value. Is there anything you're working on now that if there's something going on that you want to kind of plug a little bit, are you guys looking for donors or sponsors or people to help with this housing project? Anything that's going on for you that you want to plug?
Yeah, we got to raise like $3 more million. So with the housing project, the $3 million is not for the housing, it's for the school part. So we have to raise $3 million to build the school. And so we're working on that right now to raise that money. But of course, anybody want to donate, they can go to startsrighthere.org, and donate $10, $15. I mean, I don't care. Just be a part of what we're doing and do it annually. Do it, you know what I'm saying? Do it to where, like I said earlier, I don't want to worry about money. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to make sure that we have enough funds to do what we got to do, because we know money is you got to have it, but I want to make sure we got enough. And then I want to be able to pay my staff well, because in this job, we have the narrative that you do good, you do it for free. But then negativity is out here doing negative and making millions and billions of dollars. So I'm saying that in order to have qualified and solid people to do this job, so these kids do not constantly keep seeing people go in and out, pay them well so they can take care of their families. So this can be their job, something they love to do. There's so many people that's working in certain places, warehouses and whatever, and they hate their job, but they have the talent to do this. But if I can't pay them well, they're going to quit their job and quit their benefits to come work for me. But if I can pay them well, they would think about quitting their jobs and come work for me and doing something that they love to do. So you got to change that narrative when it comes down to doing positive work.
I love that. Super great. We'll definitely put a link to the website. People can go donate. We'll put a link to the book so people can go check that out. Mm-hmm. Will, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. Really do appreciate your time.
Thank you.
The conviction you have in your work is second to none. I think people can take a lot away from your story and hopefully find what they're convicted about in life and put those blinders on, man. I think that's been the story today. So
thank you for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, if you guys have made it this far in the show, you guys know what to do. Make sure to like and subscribe to the episode if you're listening on YouTube or Spotify. Check out all of Will's stuff. We'll put that in the show notes below. And check us out on social media if you want to see clips from all 85 of our other podcast episodes that we've done. My name is Ryan Snod. It rhymes Lod, and I'm out. Peace. Thank you so much for watching yet another episode of the Rhymes with the Odd podcast. We really do appreciate your support. If you could give us a 5-star review on Apple iTunes, that makes a world of difference, guys. Also, if you're tuning in on YouTube or Spotify, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss another episode, and check us out on social media. Also, if you'd like to inquire more about our services here at Snod Media Group or learn about doing your own podcast for your own business, you can find us at snodmedia.com. We'll see you in the next episode. Peace.